behind the set. Mateer, empty backfield, gets pressured, throws a screen, pass and caught and dropped. Ball is loose. Auburn has it. Down the sideline, Tigers. It's empty backfield or empty sideline. Down the sideline. Another man. He makes a man miss at the 10. He's in for a touchdown. Kay and Lee.
After further review, the ruling on the field, incomplete pass. It'll be thrown down.
Incomplete pass. I'll be darned.
Oh, my goodness. Incomplete pass. I thought he caught the ball and made a football move.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
That is a harbinger of things to come on Saturday for the Auburn Tigers. That audio courtesy of the Auburn Network. That's the way it sounded in Norman, Oklahoma. As the Oklahoma Sooners hold on for dear life, they knock off Auburn the final 24-17. So many of you on this Reaction Monday. I know you would love to communicate with us in regards to the officiating, the number of calls that were questionable in the game, Auburn's offensive line being as poor as it was. We're here for it. 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. It is Alabama-Georgia week. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer coming up at noon. 1 o'clock, Coach Bill Clark, former UAB head coach, will be along, gives his thoughts from the weekend. And Hugh Freeze at 1:30. We'll hear what he had to say in regards to what took place at Oklahoma. And they got to flush it quickly, Landrum, because it's on to College Station. They are a 6.5-point underdog taking on the Aggies.
Yeah, watching that game coming back from Knoxville, if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm disappointed. Certainly, you didn't go out there for a moral victory. You're disappointed in the SEC officials. But I think that you saw things on the defensive side and even from Jackson Arnold on the offensive side that gives you hope that maybe propels this team moving forward. But too many mistakes, too many missed opportunities. Officiating didn't help, but special teams, you got to be better on special teams. And Auburn ultimately had a chance to win the game. Either you get a stop on defense when you're up 17-16, or you don't put your quarterback in a 2nd and 25 and keep getting backed up with penalties before they started that last drive. You're not going to be able to do anything against that defense. So all in all, you're disappointed, but it's like you said, there's no time to cry. You got to pull up the bootstraps and go to College Station and see if you can be better.
You can't say enough about both teams defensively. I mean, my goodness, both teams combined 99 yards rushing. I mean, both defensive fronts. I mean, they were having a day. Of course, Oklahoma found more ways to get in the backfield than Auburn's did, but the 10 sacks, which is a program record for Oklahoma, it was unbelievable. Going up against an offensive line, one of the most experienced in all of college football, I was a little bit surprised at how poor Auburn's front played in that environment.
Yeah, and knew that Oklahoma's defensive front was good. I don't know if Auburn made them look a little bit better on some of those. I would love to hear from Hugh Freeze when he addresses the media about how many of those, when they went back and looked at the film, was that Jackson Arnold holding on to the football too long. But there were some where he didn't have a chance. Guy gets bull rushed and gets put in the backfield, and there's nothing he could do.
Auburn had the lead 17-16 with 7 minutes and 8 seconds left to go in the game. And as you mentioned, the defense just could not get a stop. And John Mateer, he completed 16 of his last 17 throws in that football game. He had 300 total yards, passing and rushing, 2 touchdowns. And so Oklahoma gets out of there with a big win.
How many yards of offense did Oklahoma have as a team? Do you know?
It was a little bit over 300.
It was 303. John Mateer had 300 of those yards.
300 of the 303. Yep.
It's remarkable.
My big picture look at Oklahoma, we know that they've got a brutal schedule that's coming up, but you better have a better than average defense to be able to slow that attack down with what John Mateer does. That's why I give a lot of kudos to DJ Durkin. When you think about it, 22 points allowed. One of those touchdowns was set up because of a bad snap and had a 12-yard line, and then the controversial faking an injury going off the field. But there's a lot to take away. But on offense, that offensive line, you're going to have a day because that defensive line, I don't know if they're 10 sacks good, but they're pretty salty. That's a really good team.
Yeah, they're very, very good. Of course, one of the major themes of the show will probably be a lot of people wanting to communicate with us in regards to the officiating. And it was so bad, especially one particular play. The SEC released a statement as soon as the game was over with and describing how the officials missed the situation. We're going to let you listen to the Oklahoma radio broadcast. This is the way it sounded. This is the play. And then you're going to hear the announcers explain the play in detail. Bob Stoops was one of the color analysts during the game. Now, he had stepped off the broadcast, and during a commercial break, he explained to the guys on the Oklahoma broadcast, obviously, Stoops is at practice a lot. So Stoops gets to see what they're installing. And so Stoops told them that they had been practicing that particular play during the week of practice leading up to the Auburn game. So take a listen. This is the live play-by-play, and then them explaining the play after the touchdown.
Back to pass, Mateer after the quick snap. Takes a shot, Satania, uncovered, touchdown! Uncovered, touchdown, Isaiah Satania!
Is that the hidden man trick play there? How'd he get so wide open on the sideline?
There wasn't a Tiger within a county of him. We've gotten some help deciphering what happened from the Hall of Famer, Bob Stoops.
Yeah, that's
He watched
awesome.
this in practice. You want to try to explain
Yeah,
that?
so on the previous play, they ran like just an inside run play, and on the outside, they have the RPO action where you got a wide receiver blocking, which was Burks, and a bubble guy kind of swinging to the outside, which is Satania. Well, as the next play kind of everyone muddles back to the line of scrimmage, Burks, his job is to go talk trash to the corner and the safety to draw their attention. And Satania looks like he's walking off to the sideline and walks all the way to the edge of the field and lines up while Burks is out there chattering. And then he comes back and lines up in a position inside
just
the numbers.
Barely in bounds.
Yeah, and Satania is just barely in bounds. And Burks is usually the outside wide receiver, so the corner and safety have their eyes on him, and Satania is over hidden on the sideline. Really, really good execution there. Nicely done.
Good execution.
Yeah.
Nicely done. The most interesting part to that to me is the fact that Burks, his role in that particular play is to start talking smack to the Auburn DBs to get their attention, so you're not paying attention to Satania, who is literally, you think is going off the field, and he literally stops before he gets to the sideline.
Yeah.
The deception on that particular play, you got to give them kudos for doing it. Now, it was the SEC officiating issue because they didn't catch it because it's illegal, but until you're caught doing it, it's just like everything else that's been done in the SEC over these years with cheating and everything else. Until you get caught, do it. So kudos for Oklahoma for making it happen.
Yeah. It's unfortunate if you're on the Auburn side. I guess you tip your hat to them for trying it, and if you can get away with it. Otherwise,
I don't think they're tipping their caps to any of that.
Otherwise, it would have been a 15-yard penalty and probably changes that. But also, was that Ben Arbuckle saying, look, I've looked at this Auburn defense, and I don't like our chances of getting 4 shots here inside the 12-yard line. Let's try this and see if it works.
The other thing that, and maybe it was just from the angle that they were showing it and then showing the replays, it looked like either A, he wasn't set at the line of scrimmage, or he had gotten a little bit of a head start running down the field before they even snapped the ball. So on top of the fact that, I guess according to the SEC, it's not a legal play, at least from my vantage point, it didn't even look like they were set when they snapped the ball, but the officials obviously were not paying him a lick of attention, so that wasn't going to matter. So, I mean, I guess you got your one shot. You made it count, right? If you're Oklahoma, you're not going to get another one. But that's just the way it goes sometimes.
The official release by the SEC after the game, it says the officiating crew did not properly interpret the action as a hideout tactic. If properly officiated, the second down play should have resulted in a team unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of 15 yards assessed from the previous spot. Appropriate accountability will be applied without additional comment.
So does that mean we don't see that crew this weekend and
Probably.
maybe don't see that crew in another high-profile game this season? Or do you think it's just a suspension, you guys learn your lesson and move on? Who knows? We'll never know, I guess.
I mean, that is a veteran Whitecap. You know, he's new to the SEC. I don't know where I don't know if it was in the Big Ten or the Big 12, where he officiated before, but I believe this is his first year in the SEC.
Are we sure it wasn't Conference USA?
I'm almost positive. No, he's high profile.
I was
either
saying that tongue in cheek.
Big 10 or Big 12.
Some of those great crews that we used to deal with.
Yeah. So Auburn loses a tough one, 24-17. But you just can't say enough about one. It was a great atmosphere, great conference start for both teams. And it was like we talked about late last week in regards to, okay, what happens if Auburn loses? Oklahoma wins. Like, what does that change? And I think we all agreed Oklahoma needed to, hold serve at home.
Yeah, that's why I liked Oklahoma. I ended up taking Auburn plus the points, but I said I thought Oklahoma won, and the reason being playing at home. And if you want to look at it like they got some home cooking, they did. But watching that football game, it was just if I'm a college football fan, that's one that kind of takes me back to yesteryear. And the way that it played out, where you saw a lot of defense, it was points coming at a premium, and just a highly entertaining game. I'd love to see what that number comes back as far as eyeballs that watch that on ABC.
Auburn's defensive front, they held Oklahoma to 1.2 yards per carry.
Yeah.
You can't ask the defensive front to do any more than they did. I thought, and we had heard the last week or two, there's problems in the Auburn secondary, and that showed up on Saturday.
Yeah, wasn't terrible. I thought that guys like Eric Winters, who is a freshman from Enterprise, he has continued to be a big contributor on that side. I know that Xavier Atkins, he was pretty good on Saturday as well. And there were others. I give credit to DJ Durkin. He had the game plan, didn't look like Auburn was really caught by surprise with the exception of the play there. And maybe you just had lack of execution where it looked like the right defense was called. But again, I before the season, I chalked this up as an Auburn loss. I think most people did, thinking going into Norman was going to be tough. Can they get one in College Station? I don't think the defense they play is going to be better than the one that they just saw. The question is, can they contain Reed enough like they did last year at Jordan-Hare?
And you've got the leading receiver and Mario Craver you got to deal with. Yeah, it's going to be tough for that secondary.
This is the way the game ended, and it was unfortunate. It was not Jackson Arnold's fault on these plays. By this time, the offensive line for Auburn was absolutely gassed, but this is the way it sounded on the Oklahoma radio network.
1:38 to go. Arnold again drops into the end zone, looks left, floats right, got to throw it, got rid of it. He got planted. Baby hammered him. It's a sack at the 4, and it's 4th down. Bam! No timeout. They've got one. They're not going to use it on 4th and 29. Arnold deep drop under
Great
pressure.
job.
Mason Thomas closed it out. It's a safety, and you can unhitch the wagon. A record-setting 10th sack of the game for Oklahoma seals the deal.
That's the way it sounded.
The crazy part about the final sack, not only did that give the cover, which a lot of people I know are very happy about with the Oklahoma 6.5, they sent one dude after the quarterback, and he got him down.
I know.
Yeah. One guy.
Tough way for Auburn to start the SEC season. Auburn still has not they have not beaten a ranked team on the road since 2021.
That makes sense.
4 years.
I guess until the Texas A&M game last year, it had been a while since they had beaten a ranked team, period.
Yeah. So it's been a minute. So they will have to try to get that monkey off their back in College Station this weekend. I'm sure it will be a nice, cool afternoon in College Station.
It'll feel like fall.
Yeah. It'll feel real good.
Nice and crisp. 65, a little bit of sun. Get cold as the nightfall starts to set in. That'll be hotter than you know what.
Yeah. Maybe a cold front will come through.
Maybe for all of us. We got rain at my house last night. It was great.
Apparently we got a lot of rain on Friday. I was in Tuscaloosa, but apparently we got a lot Friday.
We drove through some of it, but whatever we were driving through was not at my house. But it finally arrived last night, which is good. Good for the grass and good for my water bill.
Well, it's that season when you might be running the AC during the day, but the heat at night, and that stress on your home comfort system is why you need a Train. They've been named America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, so you know you can count on the reliability of a Train to keep your home and your family comfortable for years to come. If you want to find out more, go and visit train.com.
When we come back on three-man front, a little bit of news this morning in regards to the potential SEC schedule for the upcoming next 4 years. We'll tell you what we know. We told you Friday what was gonna look like, and now national other media outlets are jumping on what we reported late last week. We'll tell you what it is next on Three-Man Front. It is 10:19 here on this Reaction Monday. Love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX. 205-834-9450. You know it's going to be a great day. I remember these days back in the Feinbaum. And one thing's for sure, I'm callous to this stuff. Like I laugh about it. I mean, we've already had like people calling off the air, cussing Conrad out and cussing us out for whatever you heard or didn't hear at the beginning of the show. So, hey, I will repeat the number again, 1-800-239-WJOX. If you're a coward and you don't want to come on the air and tell us what you really think, then that's fine. Be that way. But We're here for 4 hours. I welcome the calls.
I can't remember every single word that was said. I know what I said, but what was so disrespectful or what you wouldn't like about what we said about the game?
But that's why it's Reaction Monday. We want to hear from you, whether you agree or disagree.
I could not have complimented Auburn any more in a loss than I did. 800-239-WJOX.
Phone's ringing, so I guess we made a point. I do want to take us back to late last week. And we talked about this on the show. I want to make sure that we're given the proper credit in regards to this. This is the way it sounded late last week. Take a listen. This is from this show days ago.
I guess the belief being for Alabama, right? You're going to get Auburn, Tennessee, LSU.
What did Lee Corso used to say a lot on his show on game day?
Not so fast, my friend.
That's what I heard yesterday afternoon. Not so fast, my friend.
So Saban's message has continued throughout the Alabama athletic department.
That's the way it sounded just days ago as we gave you the indication. I was letting you know what I was hearing, that it was going to be Mississippi State. It was not going to be LSU. Well, one media outlet, they have reported that the permanent opponents for Alabama is going to be Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. And Auburn's is going to be exactly what we told you it was going to be, which is Alabama, Georgia, Vanderbilt. Now, this is according to Chris Lowe from On3. So, no LSU, no Bama. Now, they'll probably play every other year, but as far as your permanent opponents for the next 4 years, it will not be Alabama and LSU. So, who's LSU playing, you ask? There are 3 games, according to Chris Lowe, is going to be Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. So why Mississippi State over LSU? Well, up until last year when Alabama did not play Mississippi State, Alabama has faced Mississippi State 108 times. That is more than them playing Tennessee, Auburn, or LSU. So that's been their most permanent opponent throughout history is Mississippi State. I think they call it the Battle of Highway 82, something like that. So that will be made official tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on the SEC Network. And we can get into that a little bit later. I know that we've got all these other things that we want to talk about to you in regards to what happened over the weekend. But according to On3, it is going to be for Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Mississippi State, which we told you last week that that's what it was going to be. And for Auburn, it's going to be Alabama, Georgia, and Vanderbilt.
I was about to say, kudos to you and your sources because you had this last week before. I think we all knew it was going to be one or the other, right? But you had the actual information, and that's how it turned out to be. And if you're an Alabama fan like me, you're probably happy that you got Mississippi State.
And if you're an LSU fan, you're pretty happy, right?
Yes, I would think so.
800-239-WJOX. Robert wants to talk Auburn, Oklahoma. He's in Montgomery. Hey, Robert.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Just wanted to mention something about that. I hadn't really heard much talked about it, but the attitude and the I don't know, with Ben Arbuckle flipping off the Auburn players on the sidelines after they cheated.
Yeah, that was pretty classy.
That is classy. Yeah, I mean, that was classless as can be. I mean, he's a 30-year-old man. He ought to know better. He does know better. You go back in history, I've never seen any other coaches do that other than people that are going to be short-term. I mean, what's his game plan on that? I understand being competitive, but you also got to be classy too. You know, I mean, that was just uncalled for.
Yeah, it's not a good look. It's not a good look for Oklahoma. It's not a good look for him, and that just tells me that what Auburn was doing defensively had really frustrated him up to that point.
That's exactly right. And also, you know, and it wasn't just that one play that beat them, and it wasn't just the 4 that we saw that were hugging the receivers around the waist. I mean, there's probably several plays we didn't see. But, you know, the 14 stops behind the line of scrimmage and the 10 sacks, you're not going to win any games doing that.
No. Nope.
So, anyway, I'm done. That's just all I wanted to say.
Robert, thank you for the phone call. We appreciate you listening. Let's continue. Let's go to Jimmy Longhammer. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing well.
I wanted, you know, it wouldn't be college football season without Auburn fans complaining about the refs. I mean, that's all they do. If it was in the Auburn fans' mind, they'd have 23 national championships by now if it wasn't for those dang pesky refs always screwing games up for them. That's all they do is complain about the refs. And when is it going to end? When are they just going to realize that they're a 7-5 historical program? There's nothing great about them, and the refs are not out to get them.
Okay. Thank you, Jimmy. We appreciate the phone call. Don't think you painted with a pretty broad brush there. Game was decided by 7 points. You had the SEC come out and say that the officiating crew was wrong. It was a play that resulted in a touchdown. You had another one where it was a strip, a scoop and score. Some other examples. But again, I started off by saying Auburn had opportunities. Even through all of that, Auburn still had an opportunity. You still had a 1-point lead with 7 minutes to go in the game. Defense, they were tired, understandable. If they could have held Oklahoma to a field goal, who knows what happens. And then getting the ball back with a chance to go and be the hero, and you've got 2nd and 25.
You won the turnover battle. You had the ball for more than 10 minutes longer than Oklahoma did in terms of time of possession. Those are things that typically, when you look at that, you go, yeah, we're probably going to win a football game.
Won the rushing yards.
You won rushing. Yeah. Granted, neither team ran the ball well, but again, I think going into that game, if you had told an Auburn fan those stats, you would have felt really good that you're going to win the football game. And like you said, it doesn't help when you have the ball with a chance to go and win the football game, and you keep getting penalized, and now you're looking at a 2nd and 25 at your own 5-yard line.
Giving them the ball on a wide snap and an unforced error on a punt at the 12-yard line, I don't know if they would have scored. Probably would have come away with points at least in that situation had they not had the walk-off. So there's a lot of different things that you can point to, but I think Auburn fans would have a reason to be upset with that. Also, a reason to ask questions, what's going on with the offensive line? Were they as bad as they looked at times on Saturday? We'll continue with the phone calls. Let's go to Matt. He wants to talk Auburn. Hey, Matt.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm good, man. Hey, love the show. But it's kind of like what the other caller said. You can blame the refs, for, missed calls, whatever. But you have to look at the main perspective of Auburn's offensive line is whether Oklahoma's defense is just that good, or is their defense or is their offensive line just that bad? Where if they do not figure out something on the offensive line, Auburn is they're not going to be any good, just reasonably good defensive teams. A&M, Georgia, Bama. It's not going to happen. So until you get that offensive line figured out, it's not going to look good for us Auburn fans. That's just the way it is.
Appreciate the phone call, Matt. I would argue that I don't know of those teams that you just mentioned, how many that I would put above Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's best defensive line in the SEC. So will they get pressure? Sure. Will teams try to exploit it moving forward? Absolutely. But they can still run the ball. They've run the ball up to this point, and he was still managed, Jackson Arnold did, to find time to throw balls to receivers and score points. So Greg is in Russellville. Hey, Greg.
Hey, man. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, I had a couple of things. I was sitting here watching that ball game with a few people. 3 were Auburn fans. But at the time on the play where that receiver, they said, fumbled the ball or was incomplete pass, all 3 of the Auburn fans was saying, well, I think it's incomplete before they got done with the ruling. But anyway, I thought the officiating was bad for both teams all the way through the whole game. Their offensive linemen were tackling better than the defenses were on both sides. But on that hideout play, I didn't realize that was illegal in college because evidently in high school, I see it run a lot in high school. So it must not be illegal in high school. But anyway, one other thing I was going to ask you about is y'all can talk about this later if you get a chance. But the coaches, it seems like a lot of coaches are already getting let go. Like 3 or 4 has already been let go already. And my buddy at Baylor I told you about was, he's supposed to be a defensive coach, Aranda, and he's giving up points left and right as a defensive coach. Do you think teams are going to schools are going to start hiring coaches just as basically as overlookers and not necessarily because they're offensive or defensive coaches, because it seems like here lately it's not really working for them that way. So anyway, if I get a chance later today or in the week, just if you would talk about coaches, I think Dabo may just leave on his own. So, but anyway, and if you know about the high school deal too, I've seen that run in high school 4 or 5 times the last 2 years. So we ran that play a long time ago when I was in high school.
Greg, we appreciate the phone call as always. There was a lot there. In high school, I would not be surprised if something like that happened, an officiating crew missing it. The SEC, it's
a little different.
Yeah, it's a pretty big difference. As far as hiring head coaches to be COs, if you're going to hire somebody who's been a coordinator, you've got to be impressed with either their offense or their defense schematically and what they've been able to do. But most of them, yes, when they get to that level, if you're in Auburn, Alabama, you're going to take more of a CEO role. Now, Billy Napier, he chose not to call an offensive play caller and hire one, and you see what you got on Saturday night, which was what? How many yards did they have total?
Another rough night for the Baylor Bears.
But I'm talking about Florida. How many did Florida have offensively total? 200, under 200.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in the third quarter. I think DJ Lagway had like 35 passing yards. It was ugly.
It's going to get uglier.
They only had 32 yards in the first half.
I mean, and the fact that you looked at that game late in the third quarter and said, wow, Florida might actually have a chance to go and take the lead here. It was a weird game.
Florida was 0 for 13 on third down. They only had 141 for the entire game.
Did you say 0 for 13?
0 for 13. 0 for 13.
On third down.
Miami was, 8 of 16? I think Miami converted 50% of their third down conversions.
It was the first game without a conversion on third down since 2016 against FSU Dave's team, the Seminoles.
That's really hard to do.
All right, we've got a full bank of calls. We will get to your texts. You guys want to talk ball? Let's talk. That's next. 3-Man Front. 10:35. This is Reaction Monday here on Jocks. Kalen DeBoer, Alabama, Georgia. Alabama is a 3-point underdog to the Georgia Bulldogs. Auburn Tigers are a 6.5-point underdog on the road at College Station. Ole Miss is a 1.5-point favorite over the LSU Bengal Tigers.
Trinidad Chambliss.
How about that?
Ole Miss looks pretty good.
Are y'all going to do a fun little bet this year like last year?
If he's taking LSU, I'm taking Ole Miss.
Is that what it was last year?
I took LSU.
I thought you had LSU last year.
I did.
Okay. We'll come up with something.
But I'm not doubling down on LSU this year. Not in Oxford. Not in Oxford.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here looking, and Royal Payne tweeted into the show, and I do not know this. I'll do some digging to see if this is correct. But Toby Rowland, who is the voice of the Sooners, he's also the news director. That's the voice that you heard during our broadcast just a couple minutes ago. We played you the clips. He's the one that when Oklahoma does something good, he says, unhitch the wagons, boys. That's kind of his signature line for Oklahoma. He tweeted out 11 hours ago, according to a source, in its regular pregame meeting with game officials, the OU staff brought up the planned play, this Satania touchdown, and sought confirmation it was legal.
Well, that really makes the officials look bad.
Yeah, this is now if that is indeed took place as he tweeted out, then I would say that by them not interpreting the rules properly in that situation, that you might not ever see them officiate a game in the SEC again.
Yep. Because I've seen it with, in particular, an offensive line that does a late shift.
Yes.
Right? They
shift.
shift.
The stimming.
Stimming.
Yeah.
Pre-game conference with head official and maybe a line judge. Head coach is going, hey, I know you guys know this, but just we've run into it before. Official sees it for the first time, and then immediately he's thinking false start. This is what we do, and by rule, this is why we think we're able to do it. You confirm all of that, and you're good to go. But if that's true, that is a bad, bad, bad look for that crew.
So is this the first offseason that's been harped on? Because, afterwards you heard, I think it was Hugh Freeze that said, the SEC was telling us all offseason, you can't do that. That is a 15-yard penalty. Is that a new rule, like for this season where they implemented that, or has that been the case for a while and we just haven't really seen it?
I don't know, but
applicable? Because I've never heard that.
Anything that is used as deception, whether it be barking out signals, they're disconcerting, I think is what they say it.
Yeah, clapping on the defensive side,
is the word they use. I've seen more of it in the early part of this season than I can remember seeing last season.
And you typically see it from a defense trying to mess up the
I've seen it called, is what I should say.
Gotcha.
I've seen it called by officials, not just in the SEC, but across college football, more in the early part than it seems like I've in recent memory.
It just appeared that maybe this was the first year that they were really trying to crunch down on that. And so if that's the case and they were made aware, hey, you really need to be keeping an eye out for that this season, then that just makes it look all the worse.
Phone lines are open.
So the white cap, and I mentioned this earlier, his name is Jeff Heiser. And I knew he was a longtime ACC ref.
How do you spell his last name?
Heaser. He lives in Atlanta. I'm not going to give you his address. I'm just.
I was about to say, and
no. I'm just saying he's
a workman's comp director,
right, for a insurance company.
See the one that threw the flag on that Ryan Williams touchdown last year too.
Now this is the first year officiating SEC games.
Might be this last year.
It might be his last game.
Good news is, Jeff, the ACC will probably take you back.
No, it's one thing if you
Conference USA is still an option.
If you're in the middle of the game and you just misinterpret something, I'm a baseball umpire. I go through that at times in the middle of the game. You may misinterpret a rule, something of that nature. But if they came to you like before the game and they pointed that out,
You're not double checking with somebody?
You better believe it.
Calling Birmingham and going, hey, I just want to make sure that I'm right in telling him this.
Yeah, to me, that's more egregious than doing it on the fly. I mean, this is like premeditated. Like you had an
You're
opportunity.
looking for it. You're looking situationally for this to happen.
But I'm like you call Birmingham. Like during one of the 27 million penalties that you called and you had a few seconds in between plays, somebody's on the horn. Or you're like in a TV timeout, you're talking to the guys upstairs in the replay booth and say, hey, you got Birmingham on the line? You need to ask them about this. So, again, we're just telling you what the voice of the Oklahoma Sooners tweeted out according to a source in its regular pregame meeting with game officials. The OU staff brought up the planned play and sought confirmation it was legal.
So, and I guess that insinuates that they were given the okay by the officiating crew to run that play.
I would assume.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have run the play.
No. If that's true, or if that conversation never happened between the officials and the Oklahoma coaching staff, maybe you feel like, hey, it's worth the gamble. It'll work once. This is the one time that we can probably use it this year. We're going to need it right now.
Yep.
And the game was tied at that point, 3-3.
Yeah, I mean that was the first real offensive play that Oklahoma had where, I mean, that gave them all the momentum.
All right, let's hear what Hugh Freeze. Now, Hugh Freeze is going to be on this radio station at 1:30, and I'm sure that whether it's Nathan King or Jason Caldwell, they'll ask him probably some questions about that particular play in question. This is what Hugh Freeze had to say immediately following the game on that deception play touchdown.
I guarantee you, well, I better be quiet. Said they didn't hear us trying to call timeout. We were instructed all off season about deception plays and things, so we'll see what's said. I really don't know what will be said about that.
Well, we got an official response out of the SEC after the game saying the officiating crew did not properly interpret the action as a hideout tactic. If properly officiated, the second down play should have resulted in a team unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of 15 yards assessed from the previous spot. So
first and 10 from the 27 as opposed to first and 10 from the 12. (800-239-WJOX). Get more of your phone calls here on this Reaction Monday. It's Three Man Front.
On a lively reaction Monday, your calls are welcome. 1-800-239-WJOX. Let's get back to the phone lines on this very busy Monday after Auburn loses a close one to Oklahoma.
Let's go to Larry. Larry, welcome in.
Guys, enjoy the show always. Just want to make a point or a question I've got. Because I stepped out of the room when that play was called. And I said to myself before the game was even played, I want to see if there's going to be true fairness in the Auburn-Oklahoma game. But was it not true that Oklahoma had the ball? When you see I come back in, I saw Coach Freed just screaming and yelling, obviously about the play that was called. But you said that they had a powwow before the game in reference to a special play. Did y'all not just say that earlier?
According to who was it? Was it the play-by-play guy for Oklahoma, Pat?
No, I'm just saying in reference to the coaches or whatever said they were going to do a special play.
Right.
And if Oklahoma's got the ball on their home field, obviously it's not going to be that loud. And when the play was called, when I walked back in the room, I watched most of the game. But in reference to that play, when they did the trick play or whatever, Freeze was screaming and yelling, timeout, timeout. So, I mean, that's kind of suspicious. That kind of sounds crazy, but that sounds suspicious to me, guys.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Durkin they showed a replay of Durkin, too, running towards the officials, trying to get their attention to call timeout.
But I'm just saying, when Oklahoma has the ball, it's not that loud. And them yelling and screaming timeout, you know the refs heard it. Yet the play was called, and then he scored. And one more point, guys. You asked me, y'all do this for a living, especially with an out of bounds catch. When Oklahoma's receiver caught the ball, he had it. He had control of it, but when he was going out of bounds, he totally lost control of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they said one thing, and then they overturned it. I thought, man, every time that you see a play in the NFL or even college, they've got to have total control of it until the whistle's blown. But that was just overturned. That was another call. But I said to myself in my home before the game started, I'm going to see if it's true blue, if the refs are going to do whatever. And they did exactly what I thought they would do. And that's all I got to say, guys. Love the show. Take care, guys.
Larry, thank you. Yeah, there was just some weird situations that came up in the game. And you just reminded me of another one where they initially said it was an incomplete pass. And then they came back and they gave the explanation.
I actually thought that was a good call. I mean, once they reversed it.
We'll continue with your phone calls. Let's go to JC in Mountain Brook. Wants to talk Auburn officiating. JC, welcome in.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering has anybody done a deep dive into the actual officials' crew from the Alabama game? And I know you're going to say, they're two different crews, but just as the point y'all brought up, that hey, somebody might get kicked off of that crew and they're going to go to another conference and start officiating that game, on a different crew. I'm just wondering if anybody's done a deep dive of the actual officials' names of last year's crew against Alabama, Oklahoma. That was, again, huge, momentum shifts.
Yeah.
And just wondering.
I'll do it. Yeah,
we can do that, JC.
Yeah, I'll dig into that.
I mean, because I remember 40 years ago, there was a Alabama situation in Penn State, and it was a season where the same official made two blown calls, and it was just came out later that he had a nephew playing on the other team or something like that, or something crazy. But
something we'll look at, JC. No, it's a good thought. Thank you. Because immediately, this morning I was thinking about it, that wasn't the cleanest officiated game that Alabama had when they went to Norman, Oklahoma last season. Remember the Ryan Williams play and a few other ones. Now, I did not hear from Conrad and other Alabama fans. We heard about the officiating, but the way that they lost, there were a lot of other things that you could have pointed to that night for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, and the white cap for the Oklahoma-Auburn game was in the ACC last year.
Right.
So I will have to double-check the other names of the crew members because they might be SEC guys. But the white cap is in his first year at the SEC.
Let's go to David. David, welcome in.
What's up, fellas?
What's up?
All right, I've got a major question about the quote deception play, and I've read the rule and what it says about what constitutes deception. Number one, Oklahoma never huddled. Number two, They never substituted.
Correct.
Nobody on that line after the play was over with, nobody ran to their position. Everybody walked, including the wide receiver. So please tell me, how is this any different than a no huddle, hurry up offensive play?
I would assume the SEC, just in the spirit of the rule, I know what you're saying technically speaking, but I guess the SEC made it a point of contention in the offseason that, yeah, it's kind of a gray area, but we're not going to go there. I guess it's kind of like the tush push is now in the NFL. So many people believes that that's not a football play, so to speak, and maybe the SEC viewed this as a non-football play, and they were going to obviously try to regulate it as much as possible from the officiating standpoint.
But even the sideline ref said, when the guy got over there and he pointed to him, the receiver pointed to him, he said, "You're good. You're good." He told him he was legal and let the play go.
Well, in regards to that, based on the reporting from the play-by-play announcer from Oklahoma, who posted on Twitter 11 hours ago that Oklahoma sought the officials out prior to the game to make sure that that play was legal. And they apparently gave them no indication that it would be illegal, and that's why they ran it.
Walnuts, welcome into Three-Man Front.
The buffoonery that just last caller, obviously an Alabama fan, but how many times in any football game, any during the year, do you line up 6 inches from the sidelines? Please tell me. Please tell me. Because not only did he do that, but he ran 4 yards up to get to the line.
Tennessee does it every game, but they're the exception with their wideouts.
Like, it's just unbearable. But once again, we're not even talking about the 4 pass interference calls that Coleman caught 2 of them. They didn't even throw the flag. Now, if you're going to have the integrity of calling a play, calling a pass interference, whether he catches it or not, it's just like in basketball, they'll call the foul after a dude misses it. Call the foul or call the pass interference immediately so it's not like, oh, you missed one, because they missed 4. At the end of the game with a trick play, that was a pass interference on the goal line if anyone saw it. He almost tackled Coleman. But the thing is, we took the L. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. They lost the game. But in the end, we got it taken from us. But, it's unfortunate, but War Eagle boys.
It is, and thank you, Walnuts. But I still think that as an Auburn fan, there's a lot of positives that you can take away from that game, things that you need to be concerned about moving forward. But tough environment, really good defense, and at times Jackson Arnold was able to make it work, just not enough in other areas, and you got to move on. We will move on. The 11 o'clock hour comes your way next. Plenty more phone calls. Time for you to react. You want to talk officiating in Auburn, Oklahoma? You're welcome to do so. You want to talk Alabama, Georgia? You're welcome to do that as well. Phone lines are open to you. Three-Man Front continues this Reaction Monday right here on your home for college football, bad officiating, and more. Jocks.